Hello everyone. So today we will read the second part of our chapter, which is the black aeroplane. So let's start. The moon was coming up in the east behind me and the stars were shining in the clear sky above me. So here the pilot is saying that when he was flying his aeroplane, he saw that the moon was in the east behind his aeroplane and the stars were shining in the sky above his aeroplane. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. So here the pilot is saying that there was not a single cloud in the sky. So the visibility of the sky was very clear for the pilot. I was happy to be high alone above the sleeping countryside. So here he is saying that he was very happy to fly his aeroplane at such a height when the countrymen were sleeping. I was flying my old Dokata aeroplane over France back to England. So here he is saying that he was flying his Dokata aeroplane from France to England. I was dreaming of my holidays and looking forward to being with my family. So he is saying that he was dreaming that how he has spent his holidays with his family before. By dreaming this, he was very happy and was thinking that when he will go back to his house, he will also spend those memorable moments with his family once again. I look at my watch 1:30 in the morning. So he looked at his watch and that time his watch was showing 1:30 of the morning. I should call Paris control soon, I thought. So here he is saying that he thought of calling his Paris control. As I looked down past the noise of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of big city in front of me. So here he is saying that from his aeroplane, the lights of the big cities through he was flying, that was visible to him, and he was very immersed to see those views. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control Dokata DS088 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England. Over. So what he did, he just opened that radio and said, Paris control Dokata DS088 here. Can you hear me? I am my way to England. Over. So the voice, next line. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS088, over. So what happened that as soon as he said these words to the radio, the woman who was on the radio had immediately answered him that yes, I can hear you and you have to take 12-degree west turn DS088. I checked the map and the compass, switched over my second and the last fuel tank and turned the Dokata 12-degree west towards England. So here the pilot is saying that he checked his map and the compass. After checking both of them, he opened the second and the last fuel tank of his aeroplane and then turned his Dokata 12 degrees west towards England as he was guided by the Paris Control Center. I will be in time for breakfast, I thought. So here the pilot is thinking that he will reach at his home in the time of breakfast. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. So everything while he was flying the aeroplane was going well. He was enjoying his flight till that time. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. So here the pilot is saying that when I saw the clouds, the Paris was 150 kilometers behind me. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. So here he is saying that the clouds were very huge and they were like black mountains who were standing in front of him in the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. So here he is saying that he knew that he would not be able to cross those clouds because the visibility will be very less that time. So and neither he was having enough fuel that he could fly back to north or south direction. So he was very afraid. He was very tensionized that time that what he will do now. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought. but I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. So he's thinking that he should go back to Paris because neither he is having fuel to go to another sites, or nor he can cross the clouds. So he was thinking that he should go back to Paris. But suddenly a thought came in his mind that he wanted to be his family for his breakfast, that lavish breakfast for which he was going. I will take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dokata straight into the storm. So what he did, he decided to take the risk, and he flew that old Dokata straight in the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. So what happened that when he flew his Dokata into the clouds, the everything inside the aeroplane became black. Okay, so it was almost impossible for him to see anything outside his aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. So what happened? The old aeroplane was twisting and jumping into the air because of the air pressure. I look at the compass. I could not believe my eyes. So he is saying that he looked at his compass and he was shocked to see that compass. Why he was shocked to see the compass? Let's see. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It would not work. So what happened that the compass was dead and the compass was turning round and round and round. So now he was having no compass who can guide that way in which direction he has to go. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. Paris control, can you hear me? So what happened that the other instruments which were present inside the aeroplane was also dead. So at last he tried the radio and then he said, Paris control, can you hear me? There was no answer. The radio was dead too. So what happened that no answer came from radio. That means that the radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. So what happened that this pilot, the Dokata's pilot, was having no radio, no compass, and even he was not able to see that where he was. So he felt like he had lost in that storm. Then, in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. Then what happened? Suddenly, he saw another aeroplane in that black storm near his aeroplane. It had no lights on its wings, but I could see it flying next to me through the storm. So that aeroplane was not having lights on his wings, but still, the pilot of Dokata aeroplane was able to see him. I could see the pilot's face turn towards me. I was very glad to see another person. So the pilot face of that black aeroplane turned towards the Dokata aeroplane's pilot side, and the Dokata's aeroplane pilot, when he saw that another aeroplane was there to give him the company, so he was very happy to get a pilot as a companion in that storm. He lifted one hand and waved. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. So the pilot of that black aeroplane was waving his hand and he said, follow me, follow me. He knows that I am lost, I thought. He is trying to help me. So the Dokata aeroplane's pilot thought that the another aeroplane pilot is knowing that I am lost. That's why he is trying to help me. So what he did that he follows the black aeroplane. The Dokata's aeroplane pilot follows the black aeroplane pilot instruction. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dokata so that it would be easier for me to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. So what happened that the black aeroplane pilot brought his aeroplane in the north in front of his Dokata aeroplane so that the Dokata aeroplane pilot can see the aeroplane and can follow him. So the Dokata aeroplane pilot was very happy to follow the strange aeroplane because he was having no option other than following him. So here he is saying that like an obedient child he followed that black aeroplane After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. So the pilot is saying that after half an hour also, that strange black aeroplane was in front of me and I was following him. Now there was only enough fuel in my old Dokata's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. So the Dokata's aeroplane pilot saw that the second and the last fuel which he has switched on is having only enough fuel to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. So once again the pilot of that Dokata aeroplane became afraid. I was starting to feel frightened again, but then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. So what he's saying that as soon as the fearness came in his mind and heart, the black aeroplane slowly went down, and the Dokata's aeroplane pilot followed him through the storm. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds and saw two long straight lines of light in front of me. So suddenly, the Dokata's aeroplane pilot saw that there was long straight lines of light in front of him. It was the runway, the airport, and he was finally safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. So here he is saying that after he saw the runway, he was very thankful to the pilot who has helped him to come from the that black storm, come out from the black storm. So he turned his head backwards to see the black aeroplane's pilot to thank him, but there was nothing. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere. So he is saying that the black aeroplane was suddenly gone and he was not able to see that aeroplane anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dokata near the control tower. So the pilot is saying that he landed near the control center and he was not he was not sorry for landing his aeroplane near the control tower, because that was an emergency landing. So he landed his aeroplane, his old Dokata, and went to meet the control center manager. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. So he went there and he met a woman in the control center. There he asked that where he was, means at which place he was, and who was the another pilot who helped him, because he wanted to tell him thank you. So he was doing all this inspections. She looked at me very strangely and then laughed. So what happened that the woman looked at the pilot very strangely and she started laughing. Another aeroplane up there in this storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. So the woman, after laughing, the woman said that another aeroplane. About which aeroplane you are asking? There was not a single aeroplane in that storm. Yours was the only one whom I can see on my radar. So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or radio and without any more fuel in my tanks. So now this Dokata's pilot was in thinking that if there was no aeroplane in that storm, so who was there who helped him to reach safely on the ground without the compass, without the radio, and without any more fuel left in his tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights? So he was now he was very confused that who was that pilot of that black aeroplane who was flying in that storm and who helped him. So can you tell me who was that who was flying the black aeroplane? You can comment me on the comment box. So here our chapter ends, and next we will be discussing the poems of this chapter. Thank you.